So today I want to show you a method of growing tomatoes which is called lower and lean, which has been developed in the last century, and it's very effective at growing tomatoes in a greenhouse. The best type of structure, or in a polytunnel in this case, the best type of structure for growing tomatoes with lower and lean is one that has a crop bar or a crossbar that goes horizontal across the arc, and so you can run wire at the same height from the ground and also reachable from the ground by hand without any ladder or any other support. Unfortunately, we don't have such a polytunnel. It was too expensive for us, so we bought one that only has arcs without crop bars, and that means that the wires are connected via clips to the arc. This means that the middle one is a lot higher than the side ones. Anyway, you can do it in either way. The point of this technique is to get a very long harvest season, and it works better in drier climates or in warmer climates, but also it's a very good way to extend the seasons in places like the UK, where climate change or warming autumns mean that you can grow tomatoes well into October and November, especially in a protected structure where you don't have blight if you're very careful. So how does this work? Essentially, rather than having a normal string support, which is what a lot of people do in greenhouses and polytunnels, we have a string attached to a reel, and that reel, I'm going to show you one from close by. It can come in two different options. So one is this, with that shape there. So essentially all the string is coiled up on that support, and every time the plant reaches a height that is not very comfortable to harvest from, for example this guy here, I can't reach the top anymore, either for pruning or for harvesting, so I can get the clip undone and lower it by undoing a few loops of that reel. What happens though is that the plant falls onto itself, lowers onto itself. To avoid that, what you do is you lean it to the side. This plant shows it very well, and so in this case we've chosen that side, and you can have two systems, one with two wires, so you have two wires, and when the plant get to the end of the row you lean them this way and onto the second wire. In our case we don't have two wires there, we have only another bed, so essentially what we're going to do is this plant is going to move on to the next bed, and so it will lean that way, and all of those will lean the other way, and then we'll finish at that end, but these ones will lean that way and then lean this way and then this way, so we make a big S. So why does this work? Essentially you are extending the plant, the tomato plant. It's not only as long as high as the height of the tunnel, but it can be 15, 20, 30 meters long at the end of the season, because essentially the stem will go on the ground, and the growing section, the growing stem portion of the stem will only be the one that you can reach by hand. So this plant at the end of the season will have its stem going all the way into that bed, and then be up there growing. So this reel will be shifted as we lower and lean. So this is quite an interesting method. I do recommend it if you have a very long growing season, or if you find that your tomatoes very early on get out of reach or get too high and you have to pinch them off, and so that way also lose some potential harvests. Here we have a variety of tomatoes. You can see they're all being leaned, yes, that is it. I hope you will give me some feedback on this, whether you will find it applicable or not to your cases.